That's kind of nice.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Big store.
Streamline the process.
Yeah, exactly.
15 or so people.
Paul McCartney, Chris Cornell, Rolling Stones.
There's also an end cap over there. That's where there are 45s, and there's these things called cassettes. And there are also these things called CDs. All of those things, CDs and cassettes, are on that rack in the middle. There's another rack with 45s over by the gun metal rack with where the 45s are, okay? So you've walked through y'all know where the magazine rack is. It is, as usual, full of stuff. Okay? So now you're back in the middle aisle. Straight back to the left is where the tables are, and then rack of 45 CDs and cassettes, right? Then if you turn right, you'll go down and you'll go down, and there's a big tall rack on the left. That's got LPs in it, all of which are faced, and that's where if you really want somebody who has put out an exclusively Christmas-themed album, that's where that kind of thing is, okay? So you go further down.
So we got like 15 minutes to go. We got the little tour thing. It's 30 degrees, but beautiful and sunny here. Pearl Jam's here, not really, but we're talking about that. So we just got the kind of little clues where some things are for the early morning. Ooh, freezing here. But it's not snowing, but look at this beautiful weather. Look at beautiful weather there. I feel like the cartoon or the story, Winnie the Pooh and the Blistering Day. It was freezing. Now, I'm in Seattle, so compared to the Midwest and you guys in East, I'm sure it's not that cold. Got up early, got there around 7, silver platters. I was third in line in the Soto district. Wasn't a normal crowded record store day. I guess this one's a lot less titles. I'm not a person that's against record store day. You know, people kind of bitch and whine. I meet so many great people online, same faces, same people that I haven't seen in a year, and we help each other. We talked about, you know, for the 2 hours we're waiting, what we all want, and I grab something, they grab something, and we trade off. But it wasn't, I think by the time the store opened at 9 o'clock, there were maybe 35 people online, which I don't think is a lot. I got everything I wanted and more, which is not a good thing, but you know how that gets in the moment. So I'll just show you exactly what I got. My first choice was Steppenwolf Mono on Sundays. Never issued mono in this country, only in Europe. I think that was a fold down, so we'll see how this is. But beautiful packaged, Sundazed. Steppenwolf's first album, of course, was Sookie Sookie. Born to Be Wild, The Pusher. You know the record. If you don't, you need the record one way or another. Now, this is a record not for everybody. I'm a fan of Raymond Scott. Raymond Scott, electronic music, does the music that you've heard later in Ren and Stimpy, kind of jazzy stuff. I love Raymond Scott records, anything. Now, the label Modern Harmonic is an offshoot of Sundays. You see these labels? That's an offshoot. It's a little more experimental, sometimes soundtrack, but the experimental wing of Sundazed. This is 2 records, The Jingle Workshop. He worked on a lot of radio and TV jingle music during the 50s and 60s, and that's what this is. So like literally anywhere from 24 to 1 minute clips, but I love this kind of stuff. I eat this kind of stuff up. Radio, commercial jingles, Raymond Scott, beautiful cover. More Ore, I love Ore. I've had this on CD, More Ore. Ore is Skip Spence's kind of bizarre psychedelic folk record, spacey, stoned out of his ass, kind of like, he was in Moby Grape. So his music is, not the sound of his music, but you could put him in the same thing as like Pink Floyd's Sid Barrett, where he's kind of stoned out of his mind and had a little mental issues because of drug issues. But More Ore was a comp that came out as a CD of different artists covering songs from Ore, his Skip Spence solo album. So it's people like Mudhoney, Robin Hitchcock, Tom Waits, Beck, -5, Flaming Lips, Robert Plant, Mark Lanigan, Alejandro Escovedo, The Do-Rocks, Jay Farrar. Really great record. I've enjoyed the CD, and again, it's on Modern Harmonic. And they put out the reissue last year of the 3 expanded of Ore. So again, this is a personal favorite of mine. Again, a Modern Harmonic. They're doing some interesting stuff. Freddie King, Mojo, Rarities, Obscurities. Freddie King. I got a record it's hard to always find, Babylon, Dr. John. Tony Joe White. Tony Joe White. I'm really into Tony Joe White. Buffy Sainte-Marie. This is her kind of folky, psychedelic, bizarre record. So, cool record. 50th anniversary, 1969. Coherent. Kevin Gray cut, so all out analog. Her, as it says, it's her experimental masterpiece. It's kind of a cool record. Being up here, I've been reading online that people can't find or have a hard time in some stores finding Pearl Jam. But being in Seattle, I think my store had 50 copies or more, and that is Unplugged, Pearl Jam. I feel I need to keep with the Seattle grunge thing. So there you go. In the jazz world, direct-to-disc, Herbie Hancock was a direct-to-disc, I believe the 70s. I'm not sure when this first came out, 75, I think. You know, direct-to-disc is kind of a little thing that was happening before the digital world. And the one of my first choices too was Miles Davis Live in Tokyo. 1964 Live Tokyo only originally came out in Japan. Miles in Tokyo. And someone interesting is on here. I'm blanking out which jazz musician who hardly ever played with Miles. I just forgot. And I wasn't going to get this, but a double record, the Desperado soundtrack, Robert Rodriguez film with Antonio Banderas and Selma Hayek. Steve Buscemi. I like the music, Tarantino's in it too, but I love this music on this because I love Los Lobos. Anything Los Lobos does, it's got Six Blade Knife by Dire Straits, but it's got dialogue by Steve Buscemi and Antonio Banderas, but it's got Los Lobos, Dire Straits, Latin Playboys, kind of the offshoot of that. So I like that music. Mostly Los Lobos. Some Santana, Carlos Santana bit. But it's got about 6-7 tracks by Los Lobos. So I'm looking forward to this. I don't really care about color vinyl, but I think this is on blood and gunpowder vinyl. Whatever. Maybe next time I'll show the actual discs. 45s, I just got 2. If you've watched me before, you know I'm not a big fan of picture discs. I only get those when I have to, like a Beatle completist. So the Paul McCartney, $14 for a single. But a picture disc, beautiful actual single, beautiful design. And these are 2 tracks from the Egypt Station recordings, but never on these albums. And he keeps putting these out piece by piece. So they kind of screw people up, the collectors. But, you know, give me a break. That's what they do. Kind of artsy cover, really. It's a beautiful design, right? 45 RPM. Home Tonight, In a Hurry. I've heard the songs online. I'll probably download them at some point so I can have digital copies, and that's what I'll play instead of playing this. And lastly, my other favorite band, Kinks. 50th year Arthur. We have Arthur and Brainwashed in mono, a single. Not a picture disc, that. Now, I did get this NF8 vinyl low. If you're watching this, if you can't find the Cheap Trick, I got one for you. Otherwise, I'll keep it. I'll hold off opening it. It's the live New Year's Eve 1979. I like Cheap Trick a lot, and I'm sure I'll enjoy this. But I always find if someone's really into it and they can't find it, I'd rather kind of pass it along. So Emma, if you're watching this, And if you don't find this, let me know. Just chime in here and we'll figure out. But first time, available on LP. So I don't even know. I saw them once only, their first club tour, 1970, what is it, 76-ish, 77, one of their first album came out, Jack Douglas produced. Anyway, that's it. Record store day, I'm heading up to Bainbridge Island and up out of town for the weekend. Don't tell any robbers, I have an alarm system, but love you, Mazzy loves you, happy Record Store Day, Black Friday, and I wish you all the best on Thanksgiving. Someone posted, one of my videos the other day, why didn't I wish people a happy Thanksgiving? What I do is when I do a video, like a theme video, like you've seen a lot of artist themes or the Jimi Hendrix themes or album cover artwork, I don't stamp time it or time stamp it, as they say, because I figure someone might be watching this in the middle of summer or 5 years from now. It's not about Thanksgiving in the moment. Now this is Black Friday, so it's a timely thing, so I can wish you all, hope that makes sense to you, and I hope that doesn't disappoint anyone, that I'm not being generous, wishing people a happy holiday. I wish you all goodness and joy, and love your neighbor. And seriously, I mean, I know it sounds cynical when I say that, but I certainly mean it. It's a rough time right now with all this red, blue state shit and everything. Come on, people, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, trying to love one another right now. Massey loves you.